a lot around.
Yeah, fantails are pretty awesome. And some of it, they are good or bad luck. Are they, this fantail, good luck or bad luck?
I think they're bad luck.
I think that no, the bad luck is they go inside.
Yeah.
Home, I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
hey guys! Hey, welcome to another one of our live session where we are taking all your questions about traveling in New Zealand, and we're here to help you out planning the awesome trip of a lifetime in these awesome countries. But why are we the experts? Why should people ask us questions? What?
Well, this is Robin and I'm Laura, and we're the team behind BackpackerGuide.NZ, which is a free website for you guys to ask basically all your questions and find all your information on traveling around New Zealand, whether you're just doing a quick trip, maybe traveling around the country in a camper van, or doing a year-long working holiday. We have loads of information on there for free. But if you're not really into reading, which I know a lot of people on YouTube aren't, you prefer to watch videos. We do this live Q&A session every single Sunday at 8 a.m. New Zealand time. So you guys can come and ask your questions on the live chat, anything to do with traveling in New Zealand. So if you want to know what the times are around the world, Robin is showing you the trusty little sign right now.
So it's on Saturday for everyone except India and Australia. Saturday in France and in the UK at 8 or 9 p.m. depending on where you are. In the USA, 3 p.m. EST, 12 p.m. PST, again on a Saturday. And in India and Australia, India is 12:30 a.m. Good morning or good night, or you guys should be in bed. And Australia, it's 6 a.m. If you guys are not too hangover, because I know that Saturday night in Australia, usually makes for an awful 6 a.m. on Sunday.
That's very true. But if you do have any questions throughout the week, we do also pull together some questions to also go through in this live Q&A session. So just stick your questions in any of the comments of our YouTube videos, and we will add them to our pool of questions and go through them also in this live chat, in this live session.
Here you go. So so if you guys have any questions while we are live right now, just type them and we'll be super happy to answer them for you. We're here to answer everything that has to do with traveling in New Zealand. And in the meantime, we're going to check in the live chat, and we're also going to go through the question that we received last week.
Yeah.
All right. So Tony Paul, good morning. How are you doing? Oh, 1 week until an entire month in New Zealand. That's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Do you have already your bag packed, or a week ahead? I feel like this is kind of.
I would start getting my stuff ready a week ahead.
I think my bag would be packed at this point.
Yeah.
So like that, I know if I need to order something at the last minute,
exactly.
Buy something on Amazon, and be like, I hope it's going to be there tomorrow.
That is very last minute.
That's how I do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's your itinerary, Tony? Is there any highlight that you're very much looking forward to? Okay, in the meantime, I think we should go through some of the questions that you guys sent us last week while you guys get warmed up and ask us some questions. And we actually got a really interesting weather questions because a lot of you guys are interested in Tauranga. We feel like we're speaking about Tauranga every single week. So Dominique Bousquet, I think it's French. That sounds very French.
It is.
Dominique Bousquet say, thanks guys. I was wondering what the weather was like in Tauranga. I'm looking to move into New Zealand, but I don't do cold temperatures. I know there's beach, but how warm is it, especially in summer? All right, so Tauranga, can you show us a little bit where's Tauranga?
Yeah, I'll get a trusty map out and a pen.
So Dominique, you're right. In Tauranga, there are quite a lot of beach, and it's quite famous to have like kind of nice weather. It's some of the nicest weather in the North Island. In fact, while Tauranga is where Laura is going to be pointing right now, so that's where Tauranga is. The weather we're going to be talking about is going to be across basically the whole line right here. That's what kind of weather you can expect. Now, the weather in New Zealand is extremely changeable at any time of the year, right? A lot of people think that you're going to get only good weather in summer. It's not the case. The weather is extremely changeable. And even just within one day, it's quite famous that we say that New Zealand has 4 seasons in one day.
Yeah.
Which means that sometimes, it can be a beautiful weather and then boom, it's going to start raining, for about an hour. And then after it's going to be beautiful again.
Yeah.
And that's why we always suggest to pack layers, to dress with layers and always have a rain jacket. It happens. New Zealand is a very small, narrow island with the weather kind of passing by from the ocean and the Pacific Ocean, and the Tasman Sea. So it kind of washes really often. So what we thought we'd do is that we give you a bit of a month-to-month kind of average temperature and rainfall for Tauranga, just so you're kind of aware about what to expect. So we'll go through every month, and we'll go through that. Just give me a put up my notes.
I'll just give a quick introduction really to what Tauranga's climate is like, and Tauranga's actually probably one of the warmest climates in New Zealand. It's like we saw on the map, it's in the North Island, and it's really famous actually for being a fruit growing region, and for being a fruit growing region it does need quite sunny weather, so it certainly gets some of what a lot of people would consider some of the best weather in New Zealand. So if you what was his name, sorry,
Dominic.
Dominic asked, he said he doesn't like the cold weather. You certainly won't really have a problem with that in Tauranga. Yeah.
All right. So in Tauranga, in on average, right, in January, the temperature will be about 20 degrees Celsius, which is about 68 degrees Fahrenheit. And rainfall, you will have about 90 millimeters of rainfall. That will be the average in January. Oh, this tablet is very slow today. Okay, in February, no, not me, February, please. Thank you. In February, the average temperature will also be about 20 degrees Celsius, which is about 68 Fahrenheit. And the rainfall in Tauranga in February will be more around 110 millimeters, so a little bit more rain this time around. Then in March, the weather in Tauranga will be around, the temperature will be around 18 degrees Celsius, which is about 64 degrees Fahrenheit. And the average rainfall in Tauranga will be about 140 millimeters. So the rain starts picking up a little bit in March. It's the end of summer anyway, so yeah, it makes sense, right? In April, the average temperature in Tauranga will be around 15 degrees Celsius, which is 59 degrees Fahrenheit if you are in the US. And the average rainfall is about 130 millimeters of rain. In May, I feel like I'm the weather guy right now. So in May in Tauranga, the average temperature will be around 14 degrees Celsius, which is 57 degrees Fahrenheit. And the average rainfall will be about 120 millimeters of rain. Then after May, we are coming to June. Look at that.
Wow,
so I'm just speeding up a little bit because the tablet is very, very slow. But in Tauranga, the average temperature in June will be around 12 degrees Celsius, which is 53 Fahrenheit. Average rainfall will be 150 millimeters of rain.
Yeah, so just so you know, guys, that June in the Southern Hemisphere is actually the start of winter, obviously opposite to what it is in the Northern Hemisphere. So that's why the temperatures start to get a little bit cooler in Tauranga during June.
And here you go. One of the coldest months in Tauranga is actually July with 11 degrees Celsius and 52 degrees Fahrenheit. So as you can see, Dominic, it doesn't get that cold.
Yeah.
And the average amount of rain would be 150 millimeters of rain in July. In August, another winter month in Tauranga, we're going back up actually, 12 degrees Celsius on average, which is 53 Fahrenheit. So yeah, 12 degrees Celsius, 53 Fahrenheit is quite warm for winter.
Yeah.
Especially in New Zealand, knowing that we have so many mountains and there's so many snowy areas. And so the average amount of rain in August will be 140 millimeters. In September, when the kind of tourist season starts slowly picking up, September, October is when it starts picking up, and then November is when the busy season starts. Mm-hmm. So in September in Tauranga, it will be around 13 degrees Celsius, which is 56 degrees Fahrenheit, and about 130 millimeters of rain. Moving on throughout the year for October. In October, the temperature in Tauranga goes back up to 14 degrees Celsius, which is 57 Fahrenheit. Obviously, it changes every day, but those are the kind of average. And the amount of rain is 120 millimeters of rain. So as you can see, the amount of rain doesn't really vary too extreme throughout the year. There is always a little bit of rain, but it's the same all around New Zealand. There is always rain all around New Zealand. In fact, Tauranga is one of the driest areas of the country, with Northland as well. In November, the temperature in Tauranga will be around 16 degrees Celsius, which is 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and the amount of rain will be 80 millimeters of rain throughout the month. And finally, in December, the average temperature in Tauranga is 18 degrees Celsius, 64 Fahrenheit, and the amount of rain will be around 90 millimeters. So I know it's kind of a lot of numbers right here, but I went through like the basic thing that you need to know for the weather in Tauranga throughout every single one of the 12 months of the year. So remember that summer in New Zealand is December, January, and February, and the winter in New Zealand is
June, July, and August.
All right, so that kind of give you a little bit of context right here. Now it's not going to get that cold in Tauranga, Dominic. So you'll be absolutely fine with that. And yeah, it's a great place to live and work. We have plenty of other videos about Tauranga on the channel. To find them, you just click on the search bar of the channel and you just type Tauranga, or you even type Tauranga and then Backpacker Guide if you want on the search bar of YouTube, and you'll be able to find all our videos. It's a great place to live in. I think Tauranga is, if you try to escape the weather.
Yeah.
If you are looking for another recommendation, on the southern end, there is another town which is very famous for its sun and dry weather.
Which one's that?
Nelson
on the South Island. Yes. Yes, it is known as me. Didn't know where you were going with that.
You were not listening to me, were you? So Nelson actually has the highest amount of sunshine hours in New Zealand. It's a great place to live in as well. So if you want to consider a town which has similar kind of characteristic than Tauranga, but in the southern end, that may be Nelson.
Yeah.
All right. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you find this video useful, and obviously ask your questions in the comment of this video, because we're here to help you guys out.
Yeah.
All right. So it looks like you guys in the live chat are not really chatty this morning. So we're going to keep going with all the questions that we received from people throughout the week. But if you do have questions of your own, make sure to tell us. And also, maybe is it that you don't hear us or anything? Just tell us if you can hear us, or if the quality of the video is good. Just give us a heads up.
Yeah.
All right. So in the meantime, we are going to be going through another question that we received on YouTube. Do you want to?
All right. Yeah. Okay. So Boomika, I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but Boomika Yagnik on YouTube asked, "Hello, we are planning to travel to New Zealand in January. We will be traveling with our 2-year-old daughter. Wanted to ask, what can we do at the Tongariro National Park with a little one?"
All right, so the Tongariro National Park is located right in the center of the Northern End. It's just south of Lake Taupo, which is the largest lake in New Zealand. So if you look at a map of New Zealand, you look at the Northern End, you look right in the center, you see a big blue patch, which is Lake Taupo, and just below that there is, a Tongariro National Park. It's super famous for the Tongariro Alpine Crossing, which is one of the 10 great walks of New Zealand. And in fact, it's probably one of the most popular full-day hike in the whole country. It's about 19.6 kilometers. It goes quite high up. You get beautiful view of the plain, of the lakes, of the mountains, of the volcanoes, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
And then after you get back down to lush kind of Tongariro style, like New Zealand bush.
Yeah.
And it's a really amazing walk. However, it's not necessarily the best hikes to do with kids. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's more like it's a hike. You have to have kids which are, I'd say, like 14 up, and even if they're 14, just start early. So it's a place that almost everybody wants to visit because it's so beautiful. But what is there to do with kids? Laura got you ready and sorted.
Well, I haven't. It was the wrong article, so no, I haven't. But I do know some stuff off the top of my head, obviously. So yeah, one of the good things about the Tongariro National Park is that there's actually quite a lot of short walks around. So if you don't actually feel like doing an 8-hour hike, which is the Tongariro Crossing, then you can definitely find some really short alternatives that would be ideal if you do have younger children as well, or if you just don't feel like walking.
Yeah.
So one of the things that springs to mind is a place called Torwhai Falls. Now, this is just a really short walk just off the side of the main road as you head toward Whakapapa Village, which is which is like one of the main bases of the Tongariro National Park. And Torwhai Falls is about a 10 to 20 minute walk, maybe even less than that. Probably it's very, very short.
Depends how eager your kids are to get out of the car after a long drive. If they're really eager, they're going to start running, and you're there in a minute. It's a very, very, very short walk, and actually it was featured in the Lord of the Rings movies, wasn't it?
Well, apparently so. It was the waterfall.
Legend has it.
Yeah, legend has it that it was used during one of the scenes where Gollum is fishing for fish, and he has some archers ready to sling their arrows at him. So apparently part of that scene was filmed at Torfai Falls. So it also has the nickname of being called Gollum's Pool because of it.
There you go.
But yeah, it's got 2 different lookouts along the way, so you can get various different views of the waterfalls. And I mean, no matter what your age is, really, you're bound to be impressed by waterfalls. They always look so awesome. So
it's a really cool place to. It's a really good pit stop. It's great with kids. It's and even if you're just driving around, it's really awesome to stop by. Another great thing to do with kids around the Tongariro National Park is actually whitewater rafting on the Tongariro River, because the Tongariro River is actually one of the easiest kind of whitewater rafting you will have in New Zealand. It's kind of really tame. It's really what's the grade? Is it 2 or 3?
It's about it's 2 or 3.
2 or 3. Well, here you go. It's 2 or 3. It's a great family-friendly hike. So there's some great company like Tongariro River Rafting, which does really awesome tour there for families. You get amazing sceneries, and they're really kind of geared towards families. So they will do kind of a lot of games and everything. They will do a lot of practice and everything. You're gonna go. They're gonna get you to find ways to pass through the rapids and everything. It's really fun, and also it's kind of like really. It's a different kind of activities to do while you do a road trip around New Zealand. Like we always enjoy doing whitewater rafting because it's so different than just the hiking and the views and the this and that, despite the fact that the views are pretty fantastic on the Tongariro River.
Yeah. All right, so another walk that you could be doing is a walk called the Taranaki Falls Walk. This one's a little bit longer, but it's still really popular to do with kids. And it's about a 2-hour loop walk, which is, you can take it really easily. There's nothing too crazy steep except for one set of stairs at one point. But if you just take the walk really slowly, just, it's more of a like family day out rather than having to rush around and do like a fully exercising hike. So what's really awesome about this walk though is that right in the middle of the walk is Taranaki Falls, which is a pretty huge waterfall crashing into the rocks below, and it actually falls over the edge of a lava flow that's come from one of the nearby volcanoes, which is really awesome. And yeah, I see families there all the time actually, when we have done this hike. There's little picnic areas, so you can go and take a picnic as well. And yeah, it's just a really awesome place to go and check out with kids. Another idea for the Tongariro National Park. Again, this is located in Whakapapa Village.
Look at her salivating right here.
Is to go to the Chateau Tongariro for high tea. So, I mean, what kid doesn't like having sweets and cakes and chocolates and mini sandwiches as well? They're pretty much child size.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So at the Chateau Tongariro, they do high tea. I think it's every day, every afternoon, where they serve you with like tiered plates of lots of really nice treats and little sandwiches. And they have an extensive menu of tea. So if you're feeling a little bit fancy, but it's a nice relaxing thing to do with the kids, there's that option as well. High tea at the chateau.
Yeah, and not too far from there, you can actually head to the gondola and go up the mountain, because there is a ski field called the Whakapapa ski field nearby the Chateau Tongariro, and in summer they actually still run the gondola, and you can get in there and you can actually go up and be able to have some really awesome mountain views without having to do the sweaty hike all the way up. So for this reason, it's a pretty amazing thing to do, and it's kind of get the kids a really awesome kind of typical New Zealand kind of volcanic views, because it's true, that would be if someone asks us like, hey, I want the views of the Tongariro crossing, but I can't take my kid there. I think I would say take the gondola, go up there. You'll be able to kind of scavenge a little bit around like a lot of volcanic rocks and everything. There's a couple of places to actually climb. What's the name of that wall?
Meads Wall.
Meads Wall. So nearby there's also something called Meads Wall that you can climb a little bit. You obviously have to watch the kids when doing that, but it's an awesome kind of like epic looking playground and with the kids. Yeah,
and actually even in winter you can go up there as well. It is a ski field in winter, but they do have sort of children's and family areas. For instance, there's a ski area there called Happy Valley, where they do sort of sledging there. So if you've got younger kids and just having fun in the snow and doing sledging is really fun. But if your kids are a little bit older, it's actually surprising how young you can actually start skiing. But there are ski lessons on offer for children as well. So yeah, there's always those options too. One last thing to mention, I think, for the Tongariro National Park and what you can do with kids is go to a place called Mangawhero Falls. Yes, there is another waterfall. This time
it's New Zealand. There is always another waterfall. Let's be honest, it's never just one waterfall.
You see lots of waterfalls as you're traveling around New Zealand. By the time you get to the bottom of the South Island, you're like, not another waterfall.
No, that just never happened.
That doesn't really happen, but yeah. So Mangawhero Falls is actually on the opposite side of Mount Ruapehu, which is a ski field we were just talking about, and it's accessed from a town called Owakuni. You just do a short drive up the mountain, and then partway up the mountain, you can park your car on the side in a little parking area, and there is a very, very, very short walk to the Mangawhero Falls. I think it's literally like 2 minutes to get to a lookout. And this was actually, I know as a fact, was a Lord of the Rings filming location. It was. This one is, because the Torfai Falls is kind of like, there's a little bit of like, was it really? But yeah, this one was. You actually can see it on the movie. So if you're into the Lord of the Rings, that's a filming location that's easy to access.
And if you are in Owakuni and it's raining and you don't want to go to the waterfall, there is an awesome climbing wall there, so you can go and train the kids into climbing stuff.
For all those climbing things you might need.
All right, so we hope that you guys found that very useful. I hope that this answered your question, Bhumika. If you do have any follow-up, just make sure to put them in the comments below, and we make sure to pick them up and answer all those questions for you. And obviously, like and subscribe, because that's helping us out a lot. All right, so let's go back to the live chat. What's happening? So Vishnu says, Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Is the North Island really warm? I remember you two saying there are 4 seasons in one day in New Zealand, but how is it special in summer? The hole in the ozone layer is above New Zealand and Australia. How warm can it be? It is pretty warm, but as we say, the weather is fun. And we literally just talked about Tauranga at the beginning of this video. So if you get a chance to rewatch the beginning of this video, you'll hear us giving you basically the warmest kind of temperature you're going to get around, the warmest average temperature you're going to get in New Zealand, North Island, because Tauranga is right on top of North Island where it's kind of the warmest.
Yeah.
So if you rewatch the beginning of this video, you'll find the warmest temperature average that you're going to get. But yeah, it does get really warm. The hole in the ozone layer doesn't really make it warmer. I think it just makes your skin burn faster. So you need to apply sunscreen much more often. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, there are some days when it's really hot and sweaty. I mean, it's just everywhere like that.
Yeah.
I think there is all the time. But the weather, you're going to be surprised how changeable it can be. Diana Chukero says, good morning. We're staying overnight at Tiritiri.
Cool.
So Tiritiri Matangi is an awesome bird sanctuary island. It's really awesome, and you should definitely get a chance to get there. You can do day tours there. You don't have to stay overnight.
And it's near Auckland. It's one of the islands that you can take ferries from the city centre of Auckland, from the downtown ferry terminal.
Yep. And so she returns at 4 p.m. and then have to pick up a camper van in Auckland by 5:30. Will it be catch a cab to the airport, or do you recommend another method? Diana, that seems really short, because if it's around 4 p.m., you're probably going to be unboarding the boat by like 4:30 or something like that. It's going to be, so they give you 1 hour to go to the airport. And that's the time where there's the most traffic in Auckland. So I think it's a bit of
that is going to be very, very tight. And especially if your ferry actually departs at 4 p.m., you definitely might want to maybe rearrange things. If you have to pick up your, I think it's arriving. I hope it's not. If it's departing at 4 p.m., then for sure you're not making it. Yeah.
If it's, I think it's a bit tight. I will try to actually take a ferry earlier. I'll try to get back earlier.
I think there isn't like that much choice for ferries returning actually, but I would say like obviously try and get the fastest method. So yeah, a taxi or like pre-book us. Maybe not the super shuttles would go straight to.
No, but they do all the stops. And
that's true.
So, So the other thing as well is that if you stay overnight over there, maybe you just spend more time the day before and take the ferry, the early morning ferry, like that leaves back. So I think it's going to leave around 11 or something like that. So that may be a good idea. I think it's really tight time wise. Also check your camper van company how flexible they are. Maybe you can pick up after hours. Maybe that works.
Yeah, they might do like an extra charge for picking up a little bit later or after hours, but it's usually not that much, and it might actually, weigh up to be a bit cheaper than actually taking a taxi to the airport. So just consider your options and see if you can actually change the time maybe of your camper van pickup, maybe even to the next day, if you could.
Yeah, I mean, we think it's a bit tight right here, Dana, just to be honest, but yeah. All right, moving on. So Tony Paul, before I read Tony Paul's comments, I am just going to give you some context. At the moment, in Japan, there is the Rugby World Cup happening. And obviously, rugby is very, very popular in New Zealand, with the All Blacks being the world's most popular rugby team. Yesterday was, I don't know if that was a semi-final or any other game, but the All Blacks were playing against England, and they got absolutely destroyed, 19-7. So that's kind of a sad, dark day for New Zealand, as it's the official religion of New Zealand is rugby. So now, with that in mind, I'm just going to read the very sarcastic comment from Tony. So Tony says, I know the Kiwis are passionate about rugby. As a sensitive person, how should I approach this subject, as they were thrashed by England? Did I mention I'm happy that as the English rugby supporter? Yeah, you know what? Just have fun with it. They're not.
No one's going to take you too seriously. Yeah.
I mean, I'm French, right? So my strong French accent is kind of unmistakable. And so during the Rugby World Cup that was happening in New Zealand, the French got a bit, gave a bit of a sweat to the All Blacks. And so that was just only really good fun. I was in the pub watching it, and people were kind of playing, like teasing. Everybody's teasing each other, but it's really always in good fun. It never comes to like the kind of vibes that you see from like English football stadiums where they burn each other, like nonsense. It looks like war zone over there.
Yeah.
So it never ever comes down to that. It's always in good fun, as long as you're respectful as well. If you're being disrespectful, well, then people are not necessarily gonna like you. But as long as you're just having fun with it,
people are usually happy to joke around about it, and they usually are more likely to bring up the subject with you if they know that you're. If you're from England or something, they're gonna say like, "Oh, you're English. Did you
get out?"
They
say, "Get out."
Yeah.
So no, it's just all in fun. Yeah. Vishnu says All Blacks are still the best. Well, not according to the score. Okay, so Yash Gag says, hey guys, can you please help us with some info for day trip to Kaikoura from Christchurch? We will be whale watching, and if possible, visit the lavender farm. Also, is there any must visit here? So day trip to Kaikoura, there is actually quite a few from Christchurch. So you can either hop on the bus, which are everything organized. So they will take you on the bus, then you're going to do the whale watching, and then you're going to come back. You have to keep in mind that the whale watching actually takes quite a long time. So it's more like you do the whale watching, and whatever time you have left, you may be able to do something else, but not all the time. Otherwise, you can organize your own road trip to Christchurch, and then at that point, you have plenty of time. You can do whatever you want. Now, the first thing that I will consider is to do the earliest possible whale watching you can. So, I know it may mean like you have to leave Christchurch at like 5 a.m. to drive to Kaikoura, which is about an hour and a half, I think, right? Drive?
Yeah, it's nearly 2 hours.
Nearly 2 hours, okay.
Yeah.
So it's nearly 2 hours drive, and then you hop on the boat, and then you do the whale watching tour, which is absolutely fantastic. You absolutely have to do that. It's phenomenal. And then after that, you can do some other activities. So the lavender farm is pretty famous, pretty popular. But honestly, it won't take you that long over there. Just a few pictures here and there. It's more like people that go to lavender farm. It's mostly for Instagram, and I'm guessing that's why you go there. You get some pretty cool shots, and then you're done. So it's not something you're going to keep. You're going to make make a whole day out of that. But there is plenty of other amazing things to do in Kaikoura. I think that comes to mind for me is seal swimming. It's my favorite.